Hello and welcome to another GT scale modelling video. This time it's another inbox review and hopefully you'll be able to see here what it is that we're going to take a look at today. This weekend I attended, just for a few hours today on the Sunday, the Scottish Nationals model show, and I picked up this kit here. So what we have here is the Kinetic 1/48 scale A-18C. This boxing has options for US Navy, Swiss Air Force, Finnish Air Force, and the Naval Air Weapons Development Centre, I think it's now called. Basically the Navy Top Gun school has a couple of schemes for effectively like OPFOR, so opposing forces aircraft, which are basically kind of vaguely Russian style camouflage schemes, which are quite cool. So the box, I think it's digital art. It's signed, but it looks like computer generated artwork of a Hornet on an aircraft carrier. The side of the box has are they CAD? Yeah, like the 3D renderings of parts of the kit, which are quite nice. Decals are designed by Fightertown Decals. They are printed by Cartograph. Here we get, sorry for the glare, we get lefts and rights of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different schemes in the box. So 2 carrier air group aircraft, 2, I think 3 actual Naval Air Warfare Development Centre, I think it is now, or something. Anyway, so there's 2 camouflage schemes and one all over grey, because I think they reorganised and they maybe don't do this so much. I'm not entirely sure. A Finnish Air Force and a Swiss Air Force aircraft. In fact, the other way around. That's the Finnish one there. We get positional flaps and slats, extra outer wing so you can basically fold the wings. Highly detailed cockpit. You get early and late F/A-18Cs, various parts for the Swiss and the Finnish ones, full intakes, and super detailed main landing gear and nose landing gear bays. Weapons, we get fuel tanks, VER, not entirely sure what that is, AIM-9s, AIM-120s, AIM-7s, GB-12s, CB-20s, AGM-88s, and some recce pods. So we will leave this here, see if this will stay standing up. So I learnt my lesson from last time, and I have removed everything from the plastic bags already. Since I've got them here, I will do just the clear parts first. I've taken them out of the bags. They are in their own bags. This one, main canopy, comes in one bag. It's not very big. The Hornet is actually not a huge aircraft, and I actually had to double check when I was looking through this earlier, excuse me, that I had actually bought a 48 scale aircraft, because some bits of it were making me doubt whether I had or not. However, it seems to be one of these ones that the wings build up and become bigger by adding on all the various flaps and slats and stuff, rather than they are moulded as their final size, if you like. So they appear a bit small on the sprues. The main canopy is nice. It's nice and clear. There's a bit of distortion through it, but it's nice and shiny and clear. There's a seam up the top though, and there is a bit of distortion at this end. However, it's cleanly, crisply moulded, and so generally, yes, that's quite nice. And then we have the other clear sprue. This has the front canopy on it again. There's a seam right up the middle of it. A little bit of the kind of bodywork is included. I would like a little bit more maybe, as some manufacturers are starting to go for, which gives you just that bit more freedom of blending that into the fuselage without affecting your actual clear part. So yeah, there's a couple of clear parts here, which I assume are going to be the covers for the Rekipods, that's the word I'm looking for. And then I think this Finnish and Swiss version seem to have a searchlight in them, so that's what this part is here, I think. It's a fairing for a fuselage sideways pointing searchlight. Paperwork wise, you get a full colour double page call out with right and left sides for each of the 7 aircraft that are there, with the colours called out here, information about what each aircraft actually is, some extra information written in down here. So for example, apparently to commemorate the Swedish Count that donated the first Finnish Air Force aircraft in 1918, there's always been an aircraft named after him, and this HN 457 was the final A-18C ever produced, and in the Finnish Air Force carries the name of Grevi von Rosen, which I assume is Count von Rosen or something, maybe in Finnish. Here we've got the naval, the US Navy kind of training centre. There we go, Naval Strike Air Warfare Centre is what it used to be called. Reorganised in late 2015 under the new banner of Naval Air Warfare Development Centre. So the 2 camouflage schemes here are NSAWC aircraft, and this plain grey one is a NAWDC aircraft, which is frankly a bit more boring looking. The Carrier Air Group aircraft, we've got 2011, oh, is that 2 different? Same not same aircraft, but the same squadron markings, but 2 different aircraft. So 2 different squadrons. Okay, I'm slightly confused now. Anyway, so we've got VFA 87, the Golden Warriors, or we have VFA 25 Fists of the Fleet. However, the markings seem to be exactly the same, so I don't know how that works. Anyway. Okay, no, I think it's just a misprint on here. So sorry, a bit rambly here. So this one is the Golden Warriors aircraft, VFA 87, and we've got VFA 25, which is the top one here. It's just that this text here is the wrong way around. That's what that is. My apologies for that little break there. This fell down and my camera fell down. On the inside of that sheet we have some overhead views of the aircraft, the Swiss one, basically anything that's not just the plain grey one, and various little photographs here showing positions of some decals on the main gear and on the ejector seats here, and some stencil locations. There don't seem to be a huge amount really. There's also some information about whether some peculiarities, that's the word, right? Of stencil usage on different aircraft. So some had, for example here, apparently on this 400 aircraft here, no horizontal tail data, and it only had limiting stenciling and it was in black. Anyway, so that's that, and quite nice. So let's see if we can make sure this doesn't fall down again. I'll take a quick look at the decal sheet and I'll have a quick flick through the instructions. So there's 2 decal sheets included. A smaller one here which has all the weapon stencil data on it. Is it just weapons? Yes, just weapon stencil data on it. Very nicely printed. It's all in register. Nothing's squint or printed lopsided or anything. Yeah, really quite nice. So that's the smaller of the 2 sheets. The larger of the 2 has the extensive markings on them, most of which are for the American versions. The the Swiss get this one here, and the Finnish have about that one there. So they're nice. They're quite glossy, so they don't seem. Yeah, they don't seem too thick. No, they're not too bad. They should settle down quite nicely. They're cartographs, so most of us should be aware there. The colours are very bold on the yellows and the reds there, which is quite good. So they should be quite good. I'm personally not a huge fan of, particularly colourful modern jets, so I probably won't be doing this scheme here with the extra colour, but I may do the one that's just got the Fists of the Fleet one. The previous Hornet I did is basically just all grey, but with the blue tails. It does seem to be that they're not anniversary schemes or anything. It seems to be that they kind of have one aircraft in the squadrons, almost kind of the squadron aircraft almost and stuff. So we'll see. But not sure. Nice booklet, stapled. Not in colour though. It's a bit flashy, so I'll try and hold it up. Sprue map, not numbered. It's kind of it's a nothing unusual instruction sheet. You've got paint numbers getting called out as you go through. The main callouts seem to be for, I'll just check. Black. Yeah, so the main number colours are actually in Vallejo model colour, which is quite nice, but at the back I'll show you in a second there's actually a paint list of some alternatives. So that's quite nice, because I actually work in Vallejo mainly, so that's quite nice to see. It's not a common thing. This kit is obviously going to be the same base kit they use for any two-seat versions, I believe. There is already a Kinetic F-A-18, I think it's A and B, and is it C/D possibly, or anyway, it's a couple of earlier versions of which there are two-seat options available, because you get the full double cockpit. However, in this option there is only one seat included, which is a bit strange, so the second seat that comes in the two-seat kit must be elsewhere, and you get a plate that covers this rear cockpit. Seat looks good though for a plastic one. We'll see in this. It comes with quite a basic but a photo etch harness. You could add to that if you so wished, but at least it's something. The cockpits on these are not actually that huge, so you can see. Again, we'll see in the actual thing. This is the specific painting instructions for the various pipes and such in the wheel well bays, which is quite interesting. And you'll probably show you why on the plastic in a minute, as to why it's important, because they are incredibly detailed. Different options. The underside nose plate is different for the different versions included in the kit, so that's good that it's quite clear as to when that's open. Posable refueling probe, and then options for extended or folded wings. The lower fuselage is one whole piece with a top that goes on, so hopefully that means that seam lines are going to be kind of minimalised, but we'll see. When that's a building thing, you won't really know for sure until you put it together. Optional, looks like you've got posable flaps and slats and thing, which is quite nice. Details on how to do the wing fold, which is nice to include. It's a Navy aircraft. I think it's a shame when kits don't have that option, because it's so typical of a naval aircraft. You can pose the air brake, canopy's posable of course. Landing gear is nice and detailed. It's quite a prominent feature of the Hornet, I think. It's just very kind of squat and heavy duty looking, which is quite nice. There is some photo etch in this, just some very small surface grills and things. You get a boarding ladder, and then onto the various armament, external stores, decal placement, and which pylons you could potentially put them on, and then a paint list at the back here, which has Vallejo model colour, FS numbers, Mr. Colour, Tamiya, and Humbrol enamels. So that's the instructions. So, break the box. So let's just start taking a look through the plastic. So, this is your first sprue, which has the main upper fuselage and base of the wings on. We have a recessed air brake well here. It's quite plain, but it's possibly quite plain on the real thing. I don't know. There's nice recessed detail. It's crisp. It's not overstated. There's rivet lines, I assume mostly where there was the requirement for such things. Here we've got some of the various components for the flaps and slats. The main tail planes, which are single piece, which is good. I don't know how these will fit in. They've just got pegs, but whether there's any kind of, I didn't see any polycaps or anything, so they'll probably go in, because when these sit on the ground, the tail planes are quite often posed in quite an obvious position, but at least you've got that ability to pose them. The upper fuselage extends all the way to the machine gun opening in the nose, which is quite good, so hopefully that's quite a nice easy seam to sort out. And we've got the underside of the wings here. Slow that down on that side. This is sprue C. So we have one side of the nose here, which has got some nice bit of raised detail for the low visibility lighting. These four sections here are the four undernose options. We've got the cockpit coaming and the wing folds here. There's two halves to those, and again more flaps and slats. These are dual shaft dispensers up the top here. They actually have some photo etch that will go in those. So on this sprue we have the cockpit tub. Again, as you can see, it's a dual tub, so this is actually covered over. There's some nice raised detail actually on the sides and around the rudder pedal positions and things, so that's quite nice. The seat, the ejector seat, is again nicely detailed. That'll take a wash and some dry brushing potentially quite nicely, with the cushion here. Intake fans, afterburner ring, I believe, maybe. I think that goes just inside the cans. The really nicely detailed main gear bays. Yeah, all kinds of wiring and pipe work in there, which is really quite nice. Some small greebly bits probably to do with the undercarriage. This is the main nose gear here, and then the intakes and the intake, I think that's sort of the intake body shields. The only thing that's a bit odd, which I think, if I remember rightly, was potentially an option in the Revell Hornet I built, was the burner cans they're a bit basic. They seem a touch small somehow, a bit narrow. Whether that is the case or they're more accurate than the ones in the other kit, I don't know. And we've got the instrument panel here, which has all got raised details, some raised detail on the rear of this firewall, so that's all quite nice and will look quite good. Small sprue here. This is the rear fuselage that's just behind the cockpit. This is the bit that actually covers the spare cockpit, the canopy main canopy framing, and I believe these are actually the actuators for them, so that's again got some nice detail on here. The main lower fuselage, again nicely detailed. Doesn't seem to be any loss of panel line detail kind of as it goes around into the curves towards the edges of the molds. There's no flash anywhere, and the nose gear bay is also like the main gear bay, what they claim to be super detailed. It's very nice. I like this because this fills in quite nicely. This fills in the underside, so you don't have any need to fill that because it's underneath. This is hidden by the wings usually, so the main bit that you're going to have to just make sure about is this section here, but hopefully that will line up with not too bad of a gap, but we'll have to see. Main gear legs, and the other side of the cockpit nose with the removable bit here if you're doing that version. It is actually very slightly marked on the other side actually, which is a little bit annoying for if you're not doing that version. And the two tail fins, which are nicely detailed and again molded in one piece each, so that is the bit I like that when that happens. It's nice and one less, but you can see here we've got some good scale thickness and you can almost see through this gap here. You can almost see my finger through. That's quite good. So it's nice and thin. We'll get onto stores in a minute. This sprue is full of small bits. We have here, this is actually the ends of the engines. It actually has the parts on it where the elevators will go in. There is some ribbing detail on the inside of there. You probably won't see much of it anyway, but it's there. Wheels seem to be two plastic halves and a hubcap, which I'm not overly fond of because then you end up having to sand right around the circumference of the wheel, which is fine, except there's some very fine grip detail on there which you will probably lose. The detail of them is very nice, and the nose wheel is the same here, and then the hubs. The detail is very nice. There is no weighting though, and that's maybe something you would want to replace with some aftermarket, if anything for ease of construction, because you just put them straight on most of the time. I believe some of the Edward Brasson wheels are a similar construction method, an internal hub and stuff, and there's sometimes issues with, you know, odd sized gaps between the tyre and the hub. But I don't know, if I haven't looked for any aftermarket for this. We have all the various flap actuators, both posed in retracted and extended positions, which is good. Landing gear bay doors, there does seem to be a difference there, so I wonder if there's different little aerials included on some of them for different variants. We have we're starting to see some of the stores. This is one of the Recce Pod bodies here, and the seeker head for it is actually just here. Doors, some small pylons, and the actual braces for the weapons on the pylons, and various fuselage aerials and such. Again, all nicely, crisply, cleanly molded. And this is the last big sprue. We've got 3 drop tanks, so you can go drop tank happy if you so wish. The main pylons here, in 2 halves each. Again, nice detail on those. Some more small parts. And then the intake trunking So you will end up with a longitudinal seam on these, but I don't really think it matters. You're not going to see it all the way down there, so you can paint it and at least it's white or whatever kind of off-white colour they are all the way down, but I don't think it's that important. And what we have here is a pile of sprues which cover the stores. So we have one sprue here, which is the Sniper Recce Pod, which has a little mechanism so that you can actually rotate the seeker head, which is quite cool if you're into that kind of thing. And the same for the, I think this is an AAQ28 or something they call it. Same thing, you can move the head on this, and again, detail on the seeker head's almost, it's nice actually. It's a wee touch soft, but once it's got a wash on it and things to pick out those rivets and stuff. The rivets are maybe a bit deep, but now what else do we have here? So we have 2 sprue FFs, 2 sprue CCs, and 2 sprue M's. So I'll just show you one of each. So this is, I think this is an A-120 of some kind. I think there's two variants of A-120s in this kit. One of which has these, I believe this is possibly the older version that has the bigger control fins. There's another version on this sprue, and I'll show you in a second, which seems to be the same, the same missile but with smaller fins. And you get a pylon on here, which is quite nice because it's just all one piece. Don't like it when pylons are two pieces when they can clearly be molded as one. The missile itself is molded as one, but with the other plane control surfaces as add-on parts. Sprue CC, I believe this is an AGM-88, some kind of big missile. I don't know what it's for, whether it's a AGM, air to ground missile, I believe. What it's specifically for, I don't know, but it's there. There's some little sensor pods and things which I assume are for particular versions, possibly jamming pods of some kind. There's 3 of those, they all look slightly different. And there's effectively 6 because there's 2 of these sprues, but I assume you're only ever likely to need 1 or 2 of those on any one time. And whether they're specific for if you're using this, if you want to mount this missile, then you have to have one of these because it goes as part of the weapon system. I do not know. However, 2 halves, which is a bit annoying because there's some nice detail which you'll have to rescribe back again and stuff, but otherwise nice and quite a big looking thing. I think aircraft always look cool with big missiles on them. And then we have sprue M. On here we have a cluster bomb, a standard iron bomb, and a laser guided bomb. And there's 2 of those, so you'd have 2 of those. There's M9Xs, which are these ones here with the little stubby fins, and M9 something else's, which are the ones with the kind of standard bigger fins. And again, some more M120s, but with the shorter fins, which I think are M120Cs. Those are the bigger fins, are possibly M120As. Some other details for that, some particular pylons for those, and the little stubby nose for the cluster bomb. Quite nice, a little touch of flash actually on this sprue. There's a chunk here, and there's some little kind of fuzzy flash along the top of here, but nothing looks miscast. The mold lines down here look quite large, but nothing that will be unremovable. So yeah, shame there's a wee bit touch, but it doesn't seem to affect any of the particularly small parts. Therefore, it should be easy to remove and deal with. And last but not least is, and we'll just take a quick look at this because it's 20 odd minutes already. So let's just finish this off. Is a very thin sheet of etch. So we have the chaff dispenser bits. These round ones are fuselage vents of some kind of walkways or guards. I believe these curved bits are for the cockpit. They're the kind of little grab handles and rear view mirrors you see around the front edge of the cockpit. The head-up display mount here is a part. In the middle of this here is the seat belt bit, and the lap belt is this straight bit here. And there's all these kind of wire bits, but I'm not entirely sure what they're for. However, I wouldn't be surprised to find that they possibly go on the part which covers the second cockpit if you're only doing the single cockpit version, which is what this one actually is. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go in here somewhere. So we will leave that there. That's everything that's in this kit. Everything looks nicely detailed. It looks like it should go together quite well. I hear generally quite good things about it. Personally, I'm not sure which one I will do yet. Probably one of the carrier birds. I don't really want to go and buy any more aftermarket decals when there's 6 or 7 options in this kit. That would be a bit silly because I'm not after building a particular aircraft. I didn't buy it to do a very specific one, so I'm quite happy to just take one from the kit. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of this kind of this look really, so I will probably do the other one. And hopefully that should look quite good sitting on my shelf next to the other one. I think this one I might do the wing fold, mainly so it takes up less space in my room here, and just because it looks different. And I think if you're posing a carrier bird on the ground, it should probably have its wings folded, just because, that's just me. Anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you in a future video. Bye for now.